going on, nation? There was a second album that you guys had helped select out of the albums that I had just purchased recently that you guys wanted me to review, and I'm going to review that album right now. What is that album, you might be wondering? It is Leveling the Plane of Existence by the band Abysmal Dawn. This is their second release off of Relapse Records, and it is their third release overall. Now, Abysmal Dawn is a death metal band that's based out of Los Angeles, California, that has been steadily gaining more and more acclaim, not only because they've been able to retain the death metal and the brutal roots of the genre itself, but they've also been able to blend some very elegant and very good songwriting along with it. This is something that you don't always technically see it in death metal, but it's something that definitely adds to the flavor. It definitely helps out a lot. It's something that makes albums a little bit more memorable. There are a lot of bands that we can really cite to this particular endeavor that really come to our mind almost instantaneously, much like the 2011 Music Madness champion, Death. However, Abysmal Dawn does it in a little bit more of a scaled-down environment, almost more reminiscent of what Death was able to do with their first couple of releases until they started to get a little bit more progressively experimental with the latter era. However, Abysmal Dawn is able to pack a lot in with a little, and the one thing that they are able to do very, very well, and something that is very unique for this particular crop, is that they're not always going to go fast-paced. They're not always going to slam you straight forward in your head. They're not going to make you have to bang your head on a constant basis at rapid-fire speed, to the point where it feels like you just drank 20 beers in roughly about 45 minutes, kind of slept for about 2.5 hours, if you call it sleep, and then woke up with a pulsating migraine. You want a good example? Well, here's a good example for you. If you take a look on the back here, of course, you have the song titles. Take a look at the last two, My Own Savior and The Sleeper Awakens. This is where you see a kind of night and day type of duality that this band is able to accomplish. With the first track, they're able to do that a little bit more aggressive, very reminiscent to that whole migraine headbanging thing. But then with The Sleeper Awakens, with the longest track on this particular affair, that goes 6.5 minutes in length, they really tone it down a little bit. They really slow down the pace, and this one just sort of chugs along, it broods along, and it's something where some people may not enjoy this track because it might seem like it's a little bit boring, almost as though it's not doing much, but that's kind of the point. And the point is definitely well exhibited. Whenever you get to about the 4-minute long mark, to the outro portion of this particular song, you start to hear the soloing kick in. You start to hear the whole entire brevity kind of come together. It's almost like the first portion of this song is setting the mood, setting that trudging atmosphere. Almost like setting and teasing of what's going to happen, because you know it's going to happen. You know that Abysmal Dawn's not just going to go for 6 minutes at sort of just this trudgery pace and do nothing with the song, undulate it in no way whatsoever. So what do? They kind of tease you that entire way through the song. Very good construction, by the way, on this particular song as well. And then once it hits that 4.5-minute mark, once they start doing that soloing, once they start giving you kind of what you want, you can't help but really enjoy it. This is a very solid record, though a very short record. It's 10 tracks long, and it's only about 38 minutes in length. So once again, it's kind of like what I've been saying a lot this year. This is one of those records that really doesn't overstay its welcome. At the same time, it will leave some people clamoring for more. For me personally, with this particular release, I believe that I got just enough of a taste of Abysmal Dawn with this particular release. I think that they really judged the length at a very good location, and I believe that this was a very good representation of what they're going to be able to accomplish, not only in the future, but kind of where the evolution of themselves as a band has kind of come at this particular point. I would definitely say that this is an album that I would recommend to you guys, and I can definitely see why you guys recommended that I review it. So, once again, I have to thank you guys for all the different votes in that particular channel update, where you guys voted on which album that I had just purchased that you wanted me to review. I have to give this, much like the Ghost album, a solid 8, though I may have to give this one a little bit of an edge, only because while I love that Ghost album, I love it for different reasons, and I have to really take a look at this album on an objective level, and it really is just a very, very solid release. So maybe like an 8.1 or like an 8.05 versus an 8 for Ghost. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those funny little things. But overall, Abysmal Dawn, Leveling the Plane of Existence, definitely check this out. Definitely check this band out. They're one of these young bands from Los Angeles, from America here, that's on the rise and definitely making a splash here in the American death metal scene, and you will not want to miss them. Cover Killer Nation saying, check it out.